Ever wondered how someone survives in one of the most expensive cities in America on just $65,000 a year? That's me. Live in San Francisco, home of tech billionaires, $7 lattes, and apartments that cost more than most people's mortgages. But here's the crazy part. I actually make it work. Before I dive in, let me ask you for a tiny favor. I'm a small creator trying to grow, and every like and subscribe makes my day. It's free for you, but it helps me keep making videos like this. So go ahead, hit that button if you enjoy this money diary. Alright, let me introduce myself. My name's Alex, I'm 28 years old, and I work in tech support for a mid-sized company. I'm not a software engineer pulling in six figures. I'm just the person who makes sure everyone's Wi-Fi actually works during meetings. My salary is $65,000 a year, which sounds decent until you realize I live in Silicon Valley. I share a two-bedroom apartment in the Mission District with two roommates. My room is slightly larger than a closet, and the rent still makes me cry every month. My hobbies include scrolling Zillow listings for houses I'll never be able to afford, eating burritos that are bigger than my head, and wondering why oat milk costs more than actual gasoline. So why is San Francisco so brutal? Well, let's talk numbers. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is about $3,000 a month. Yes, just for one bedroom. That's more than a mortgage in a lot of cities. Groceries here? About 30% higher than the national average. A dinner with friends will easily run you $40 a person. And if you try to drive, a single parking ticket can be the same price as your grocery bill. Honestly, San Francisco is like that toxic ex. You know it's bad for you, but you just can't quit because it has something special you can't find anywhere else. So let's break down my income. I make $65,000 a year, but Uncle Sam and the state of California take their cut first. After federal tax, state tax, Social Security, and Medicare, I bring home around $4,200 a month. It's not terrible, but here's how fast it disappears. Rent and utilities are my biggest expense. I pay about $1,500 a month for my share of the apartment. If I lived alone, I'd be bankrupt. Groceries take about $400 a month. Transportation costs me $200, mostly BART, sometimes Uber when I'm desperate. Healthcare is $300 a month. I try to put $500 into savings or towards student loans, and entertainment plus eating out usually lands around $400. Then there's always $200 in random, unpredictable costs, like last month when I spent $60 just on oat milk lattes. Yeah, I hate myself too. When you put it all together, my monthly budget looks like this. $1,500 for rent, $400 for groceries, $200 for transportation, $300 for healthcare, $500 for debt or savings, $400 for fun, $200 for surprises. And that's already almost everything I earn. So how do I actually make it work? Cost-saving hacks. I cook at home most of the week, which saves me at least $300 a month. I rent with roommates, which cuts my housing cost in half compared to living alone. I don't own a car. I rely on public transport, which is way cheaper than car payments, insurance, and gas. And I look for free events around the city instead of dropping $100 every weekend going out. Honestly, half the fun in San Francisco comes from just exploring, walking around different neighborhoods, and enjoying the parks. And yes, sometimes I cheat the system. Like splitting a Netflix subscription with my roommates, or buying Trader Joe's wine instead of paying $15 for one glass at a bar. Little choices add up. But the big question is it worth it? Living in San Francisco on $65,000 means sacrifice. I don't live in a luxury apartment. I don't eat out at Michelin star restaurants every week. I can't even imagine owning a house here. But I am surrounded by opportunity, diversity, and innovation. I get to be part of a city that's constantly changing, and sometimes that makes the struggle feel worth it. So that's how I stretch $65,000 in one of the most expensive cities in America. Do you think it's worth it? Or am I just surviving instead of thriving? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear if you think you could make this work, or if you'd pack your bags and move somewhere cheaper. And here's one more thing I've learned. Living in San Francisco on a modest income teaches you discipline like nothing else. Every purchase has to be intentional. I can't just swipe my card mindlessly. When rent eats half your paycheck, you really start asking yourself, do I need this or do I just want it? And honestly, that mindset has carried over into every part of my life. I've learned how to prioritize, how to plan, and how to say no, even when my friends want to drag me to some overpriced rooftop bar. But don't get me wrong, it's not all doom and gloom. There are days I'm walking along the Embarcadero at sunset, the Golden Gate Bridge in the distance, the city lights flickering on, and I think, wow, I actually get to live here. That moment of gratitude balances out the stress of budgeting. Because while money is tight, the experiences are priceless. And if you're smart about it, you can carve out a life here that feels rich, even if your bank account doesn't. So here's my final thought. Living on $65,000 in San Francisco isn't glamorous, it isn't easy, and it definitely isn't what social media makes city life look like. But it's real. And sometimes, showing the real side of money is more valuable than pretending everything is perfect. So if you're curious about how people like me manage in other cities, New York, Austin, Seattle, Miami, stick around. I'll take you on a tour of budgeting across America. And remember, subscribing doesn't just support me, it makes you part of this little community of people trying to figure out money and life together. I'll see you in the next one. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, please subscribe. I'll be covering other cities across the US, New York, Austin, Seattle, Miami. Each one has its own struggles, its own hacks, and its own version of, is this worth it? Supporting a small creator like me doesn't cost a thing, but it makes a huge difference. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next city.